level of flexibility and available funds to account for those unknowns and items that may come up during our design work for consultants that are unknown at the time. So we have specifically not maxed out the grant at this time, and we've allowed ourselves some available funds in case they are needed in the future. If at the end of the project for the design services, we do not use all of the funds available for the THC grant, that will return back and be available for the county for full construction funding. The other items at the bottom that are shown, things such as the survey, data IT security, and principal engineering, those items are specifically excluded from the THC grant. So I've listed those out as separate items that would be a county responsibility to cover, as well as any reimbursements. So I've tried to outline that clearly for the counties so that they have an understanding of what's allowable to be covered under the THC grant. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
I just, and this is something I learned the other day, is that the maximum allowable grant is $10 million. But if we spend $1 million on planning, then restoration grant would be $9 million. So they take away, which is typical, the part of the planning part of it as well. So.
Yeah, so we try to be as economical as we can with our design services. I've worked with my design team as well. The Texas Historical Commission allows a significant percentage to be allocated to the architectural engineering fees, which we're at the county's benefit, not anywhere close to. So we have tried to be as respectful of the county's and taxpayer money as we can, because we have a courthouse that can support a more economical fee structure from our services. So we try to provide that to the county at the county's benefit. The other two proposals would at this time be at the full county's requirements to cover, as they are not currently covered by the THC grant. If the county has an ability to coordinate with any sort of additional outside grant funding, I think there's always potentially opportunities for that. I don't know that they typically cover architectural and engineering fees, but they might be able to cover some of the future construction costs if those were to come up, because we are going to ultimately be working on historic structures. I'm happy to discuss those and answer any questions. Commissioner.
What about this building right here, the LEB?
So as part of our feasibility study, we did not feel like that building cost to rehabilitate it warranted the use and outcome for the long run for the county.
Could the footprint or the slab be used? I mean, I understand the building. I've been in it and it's a mess. But I mean, as far as the slab, or is there no benefit to?
I don't think utilizing the slab would benefit the county, as it would be of a higher risk to try to build something else on top of it without being able to have the full engineering of that.
Makes sense.
I know that we had discussed with the judge and officials regarding alternative locations for the additional departments for the courthouse staff, as Annex 2 will not be able to hold all the staff, so there will be additional need for additional space for county and departmental needs. So it is something that we'll need to discuss and find alternative locations to house remaining departments. The goal of Annex 2 would be potential permanent locations for some of the departments inside the courthouse. So it is not the intent of our design work to rehabilitate Annex 2 and then revacate it after the courthouse is rehabilitated. The goal would be to rehabilitate Annex 2 for
Long-term
continued
use.
Yes.
So on the Annex 2, for my behalf, the north end to me is not, it's going to be hard to make suitable for business offices, but the south end to me could be used, or it's a little more functional, I guess. Obviously, the middle has got to go away.
Yes, the middle later addition is in significant disrepair, and we are recommending that be removed. While the north building is typically known as the clinic, we call that the Central Hotel. That building as a historic building, we do have a intended tent or a department for that building, and have a plan for how that can be appropriately utilized for a department within the county. And yes, obviously, the southern building is already more easily viable for current uses.
So the hotel, so to speak, could be modified to house a department and still maintain the historic.
Yes, sir, we feel so.
It's my office over there.
So I guess the question I have is that, a lot of places use portable or temporary buildings and, essentially, I guess they're like trailer houses, but they connect together. Is that a consideration, or is that, would we have city restrictions if we attempted to do that on the, over here where the LED's at in the parking lot?
I think we'd have to look at that further. I'm not familiar with any requirements that would restrict that, but I definitely think we have to look at that further regarding that.
Yeah, as far as that goes, it could actually be on Annex 2. There's a significant amount of parking space over there that we could do a similar type of deal. I just don't know if Annex 2 is going to be sufficient to house what we have here, or we'll have to find out another way.
If Annex 2 is not going to be, we would need secondary accommodations for departments. Even if we had the LED building and Annex 2, we still wouldn't have enough space.
Yeah.
Do you know if offhand about what the square footage is once you remove the deteriorated portion? If it's not on top of your head, don't worry about it.
Actually, I've got it in. Actually, I have it in.
Okay, that's fine.
I know, sorry. No, sorry.
That's fine. I have nothing else, Judge.
Is this a reimbursement grant or a?
It is a reimbursement, right? Yes, sir. But it's reimbursement as it's billed. So it can be, you don't have to wait till the end of the project for reimbursement, you reimburse as you go.
So as you bill us, then we would immediately resubmit for reimbursement on the
That's
state.
my understanding.
Yeah. So I guess from a budgeting perspective, we need to clearly address the budget for the 39 courthouse, and then I guess the Pioneer Memorial Library becomes a question about, do we want to expend county funds, which wouldn't affect our grant purposes or anything, to do the planning part on that. So essentially, we would not have grant funding for the planning. Is that
That
correct?
is correct, yes.
Or we could wait and potentially receive it down the road, but I think we're still at a maximum of 10 million grant for both courthouses. So
Currently, right now, we are still capped per county at 10 million, which would be exceeded at this building alone. Unless at this time, unless the Texas Historical Commission changes that to be a per project cap or changes the height of the cap.
Yeah.
We would be not be able to pursue additional funding for the library at this time.
yeah, it's my understanding that THC has some discretion there. If we could lobby appropriately, maybe we could get it changed a little bit. So.
Yes, definitely.
And then the other part from a budgeting perspective is the elevator. So,
As well as Annex 2. If you guys would like to proceed with Annex 2, it would need to move immediately in order to be ready for the work within this building. Any additional questions?
I have no further questions.
Any questions?
Thank you, Whitney.
Expense. For different periods.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jeff, what is the status on the elevators? I mean, what's our timeline on, I think we're on borrowed time already.
Elevators last approximately 25 to 30 years. These were installed in the early 80s, and they're approximately 40 years old. I did have estimates that I gave to Whitney to repair this building and also the library. I have the annex 1 on the budget, but as you know, we just, the one in the courthouse broke down approximately 6 months ago and had it repaired. They put a Band-Aid on it, basically. It's not in great shape. If you call all the mechanics on it, if you've been in the elevator loading room, it's very bad shape.
So you said you included the elevator in the library?
Yeah, I've gotten quotes on the courthouse, the library, and Annex 1.
Right.
Whitney has 2 quotes for library, library, courthouse.
Mhm.
Actually turn the one in for the Annex 1 in on the budget.
Okay, but neither courthouses, Pioneer Library or this one is not in your budget, is that correct?
That is not in my budget.
Okay.
But again, I do have those 2 bids there.
So you're saying they're about 150,000 each?
Approximately 150,000.
sure use big numbers.
So just looking at the county portion of the planning, for the planning grant, I think he said that was 283,000, but it also appears that that is, according to Whitney, that would be over September 26th, starting to February 28th. So not all of that would potentially be spent in our fiscal year, next year budget. But if we add that 283,000, which is the county portion of that spend, and then we have Annex 2 design, which that would be wholly within the fiscal year, starting this fall and ending in May of next year. That is about $506,525. And then we have the two elevators at $150,000 apiece in both courthouses. We're right at about $1.1 million that potentially would have expenditures with respect to preparing for the 39 courthouse. If we add in the planning for the 1882, that's another 239,000. So we'd be at about 1.33 million if we tried to do it all in the next fiscal year. And likely a little bit less because again, the county portion of it goes beyond just the next fiscal year. So on the 39 courthouse.
What was that total, 1.3 approximately?
Yeah, 1.33.
Could we utilize some of our excess hot tax for some of the construction over there for historic preservation?
I have no idea.
I think that's something we should explore.
You know, I'd almost think that the old hotel would be applicable with that.
Well, even that building's a historic building.
Still got it's got historical.
I mean, the library's frequented by tourists, so I mean, that's one of the conditions is it has to be a location that's frequented by tourists, and so I don't know if
Okay.
a building
Office
has been
space.
closed for so long that it would, prior to the work, that it would meet that condition. We can make a much better argument for the library.
Mhm.
And we had talked about maybe doing some work on the bandstand with that money as well. What about the LEB? Sounds like a recommendation is going to be to,
Raise it.
yes.
Certainly agree with that.
You know, we've been, prior to even you being here, we've been budgeting money to try to do something in that area. It's just always been a back burner project, but we're into the point now that we've got to start doing something with these things. And to Whitney's comment about that, I'd even talked to a contractor and taken one over there and walked through the building, and he as well said by the time you tried to adapt that building to something that's functional, you could actually build something that's made and looks for the part.
Yeah, I would say we spend money on Annex 2 to put it into functional use. That this space over here could be used for future expansion down the road, 8 or 10 years down the road. If the county continues to grow and demand for services go up, so.
Jeff, if that building goes away, the LEB, I think that'll probably have a greater impact on the, lawn care and maintenance.
And we can
Guys.
house that either at our current location or at the location by the airport. We would just have to trailer it in. Unless we utilize the space behind Annex 2, we'll not be able to put a small shop over there, so we wouldn't have to keep transporting lawnmowers. Equipment, it's doable.
Okay.
Do you have to move that equipment around much now? I mean, we have several different campuses, but I'm not aware of.
We have to go to the jail to our location, USDA. So once a week, we move it.
So it's-
a little bit more frequent.
It's trailered anyways. It's
Yes.
it's portable.
All right, any other discussion on this issue of facilities and planning?
I don't have any.
Okay.
No, sir, not present.
Okay, yeah, ready to move on to discussing compensation questions. At last meeting, we did have some preliminary discussion on either COLA or some across-the-board adjustment, and we had questions about what type of budgetary impact those different options would have. HR has produced a spreadsheet that sort of summarizes those changes into a few different options and indicates the budgetary impacts from each of those. One of the proposed options is a 3.2% adjustment, and then one of the options is a $1, that's a $1 an hour adjustment, I'm assuming, and then $1.50 hour adjustment.
And is this across everything, including sheriff and jail, or is this excluding that? I'm sorry? Excluding.
But including some of the other asks that were within the county.
No, this would just be, they built in something straight across. You have her speak to my point, because we can't hear back here. Thank you. No, it would just be across the board, if everything was the same before, can you speak into the micro, I mean, we can't hear you.
If everybody was given the same amount of increase across the board, it would be
What?
the $50 or 3.5%.
Thank you.
So I think Commissioner Olfer's question was, does this include personnel requests that were standalone? And this is just based on current rates for each employee.
Okay.
So it's an adjustment before any specific adjustments would be made by the court based on requests. So if we do a flat rate across the board adjustment, that's gonna be a little complicated with the sheriff's step plan because theirs has an automatic percentage increase. And then if the county grants a across the board increase that exceeds their, was it 2% or 2.5% step, then they get that little bump as well. And obviously, if we do a flat rate across the board, depending on the person's salary, that's going to determine whether their increase is above, what that percentage increase is for each employee.
Yeah, but the discussion's been that if we did it just a COLA percentage, that spreads the salary range apart because the lowers get less and the upper gets more per dollar.
Mhm.
And then it's across the board keeps the compression the same. It doesn't worsen the compression. So it's really a juggling act on what's best and how to make it work for everybody. And if we did a flat amount and we have the average there, the percentage average, would that affect the sheriff's per the average or for the high? Or I'm not sure how that's written in there. I mean, it's probably not, if I had to guess. It's just if we exceeded the
Oh, like the difference in.
COLAs or the percentage. Well, I
I mean, my thought is we would do it per employee, and if say, for example, we do $1 an hour, if that employee, depending on their current rate, I mean, because some of the sheriff's office employees make significantly more than others. If the lower end of the sheriff's office, if it was not the amount that they are supposed to get, then.
So you're including them in this, not, because what I was under the impression was that this is not excluding the sheriff's.
But what I'm saying is if we do something that lands in the sheriff's office, if we applied it to them as well, it depends on if it's going to be above or below that 2.5%
Correct.
for their employees. And I don't think we would do that based on the average. I think it would be each employee.
Per that employee. Okay.
Some are gonna have the whole dollar, like let's just do $1. Some are gonna have the whole dollar amount because they've exceeded the step schedule, and so they've just been getting the increases that the courts approved each year. And then some on the lower end are gonna get more, like meet that already or exceed it, so it would offset it, I feel like.
So in the budget request, the sheriff's office put in 3% across the board on the deputies.
Yeah, and jailers are significantly higher than that.
Right, right.
I don't know, at first sight for me, I'm kind of more leaning on the flat rate as opposed to a percentage.
I agree.
To keep the compression or the lack of, from the larger spread. That's kind of where I'm, not saying which one, but I'm leaning towards more of a flat.
That gives more benefit to the lower wage earners and
Yeah.
Correct.
which, I mean, we can't operate without people, and it's the the way the economy is going right now. I mean, everybody's getting pinched everywhere, and whatever we can do to help the employees, I'd rather, if we need to pull back a little bit on some operational expenditures to make sure we can get the employees paid.
Thank you.
Is my
These citizens appreciate that.
would be my preference. It's and we're always in this arms race with adjoining counties. Everybody's trying to keep everybody in fair compensation, but everybody's bumping at the same time. So, I agree. I think that for me, the flat rate helps the lower wage earners more than it does the higher earners, and while still sort of spending the same, allocating that amount across the board, but it weighs a little bit more towards a bump on the lower end.
Real quick, just looking at the jail and sheriff's office really quickly, pulling what that 2.5% COLA or increases that they have built into their step schedule. There's only a small handful that are moving up a whole dollar, so, most of them will have to be adjusted. It's not by a lot, there will be an adjustment. There, the jail, everybody except for the one or two people are below that dollar. Just to kind of give you an idea.
What do the other commissioners feel like?
I suggested that last week. I feel like that's gonna be more equitable. I don't want to say equitable, it's gonna be benefiting the lower paid people. So if you take $1 and somebody's at $20 an hour, that's a 5% raise. I personally would be more in favor of $1.50. It's not like we're highly competitive out there, so.
And I guess that's what the ask of the communications is already. Is that correct?
I think so.
I believe it is.
$1.50, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, $1.50.
Yeah. I would be inclined to agree with Commissioner Weinheimer in that I would be satisfied with that. And there's probably still a couple or a handful that still need to be looked at, but for the most part across the board, that would be a pretty nice benefit. I would hope they would take.
At what number, at the dollar
$1.50.
50?
And even at that rate, it's a large bump in our budget. Almost 500,000, as Cammy has on that email.
Is that excluding the sheriff's department?
That's excluding the shares, and then that also does not include the taxes and stuff. And those are separate down below.
So if you had $1.50 across the board with the sheriff's department included, that'd be about a 900, I'm not good at math, 936,000. So, I mean, that's $1.50 across the board for 225 employees.
And a 33%.
Well, that's $1.50
Benefits, yeah.
33%.
Yeah.
For benefits.
Benefits there.
So my rough math is 936,000 if it includes 225 employees.
So at the top of the spreadsheet that says totals, that's solely salary increases. You do have benefits listed below that, but that's not included in that number. Right, okay.
Oh, it's not included.
That's roughly 650.
The dollar hour increase, this is a $1.50 plus. 50 cents.
At least the monitor stays the same.
Basically $1.50.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Across the board.
So you take that number. That's 936,000.
Sheriff's office.
$1.33.
Estimate number,
Could you give that?
81,000,
I'm sorry?
$89,281.
What was that number?
That's the SO.
Yes, and that includes the jail, so it's.
SO and jail.
That's just the salary increase that would generate.
Not-
That doesn't include the taxes.
$90,000.
But they had another 33%, 120,000 in benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the 225 employees. Okay, so we took that plus,
Cammy, that number you gave was at the $1.50 proposed, if we did a $1.50 cross.
Can we kind of leave that in there for a placeholder, so to speak? We kind of got an idea, but I think we need to go over some of the other asks and see if we can whittle down or,
Well, I was looking through the individual merit requests right now, trying to see where they fell within that, compared to that.
are you going to be busy for a moment with that? Are you done?
Well, I'm just looking at it.
I know, are you going to be
You want to take a break?
real quick?
Okay. All right. It's 10:12 a.m. Let's take a 10-minute recess,
5?
5-minute recess.
10 is good.
All right, we'll do 10 minutes. 10:12 a.m. We'll reconvene at approximately 10:22 a.m.
I'm good so far. Thank you, Judge, for allowing the break.
Okay, it's 10:25 a.m. We're going to reconvene the open meeting of Gillespie County Commissioners Court. Special meeting item of discussion right now is the budget workshop. So, are y'all, I guess, do you want to pencil in the $1.50 compensation as the adjustment across the board for now as a discussion? And we have to have something, I guess, to start for discussion purposes.
I would be in favor of that.
For the moment, I would be applicable to that. Like I say, we still got a long way to go.
Right. On the individual requests, do y'all want to work through some of those and see how those would be affected by that proposal?
We could, I mean, if we could do it off the personnel budget thing would be the easiest. If we could, this thing.
Is that the document that was compiled by David?
Correct.
Okay.
Sit here.
So that 33% that they're talking is not close.
It's going to take 50% of that. It'll be an increase. So it's 750.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about time to get a higher prescription on my cheaters.
Or need a bigger screen.
Or a bigger screen. I need a big old 60-inch TV. I'm afraid to do that really.
275.
275. These are 175.
Can make a difference.
Oh, yeah. Those big, bold flag here.
Looks like at least 3 of the JPs requested a $1 increase for the elected.
Who would take care of that?
They also, I think they all requested an adjustment to their travel, which we also publicized as part of their compensation increase. Which was, I believe, $1,000 increase on that part of the request.
And didn't we just go up on that last year already?
We gave them 500 last year, I believe.
They ask every year.
David, is this that you compiled, is that still current? There's no additions or changes to that? I assume it would have been.
It's current.
It is current? Okay, thank you. And like that $1.50 would take care of communications, which is split with the city. He's not the problem.
A lot of the personnel requests are under $1.50. Well, I say about 50-50. It seems like there's about half that are probably over that. I mean, if some of those are based on market, I mean, there's different justifications for each request. And so, some may be warranted where others may not have the same amount of support. Which, I mean, for me, makes it hard to just say we're just going to sort of blanket all of those as well. I think we probably need to do a little more scrutiny and consideration of each of the requests and the basis for the request.
Maybe we pull out everybody that's below $1.50 and then look at them individually, or have the appropriate manager come in and speak to those if there needs to be something beyond the 150.
You mean the ones where the increase was requested to be above $1.50?
Yes.
And see if they can, and have them justify the additional.
Yeah, if they feel like they need to.
Okay.
I know there was a vacant position that had a considerable increase. And really that's due to the fact that it was listed low to begin with, I believe. I think that's in Rosalinda's department.
Yeah.
And then I think there's some vacant positions that, and I'm just looking at the floodplain. They've got a $30 hour rate for a floodplain administrator, engineering type position. There's no reason to raise that. I mean, so there's some in there that don't need to be adjusted.
So if the proposed merit increase was under $1.50 or at $1.50, assuming we adopt that $1.50 as the adjustment, is the court comfortable with giving the $1.50 in lieu of the request?
So I think a lot of those requests were, that showed up. If you look at them, and I can check with HR to make sure, but a lot of them said, we want $1.60 or $1 plus COLA, plus COLA. I think they all had plus COLA on that.
Right.
I don't know if there's all of them, but the bulk of them have that. Yeah. So,
That's usually the way that it's,
yeah.
we see every year.
Right. So if somebody had asked for 50 cents plus COLA, I'd be comfortable with saying $1.50 is what we'd go with. So, or if they asked for $2 plus COLA, I'd be comfortable with $1.50.
Did we have any other electeds that made a request for merit or increase besides JP?
Constables did.
Okay.
been short.
Constable Bodie, did you also made some written request, and did you have a range in there that you were proposing? Is that correct? Does that reflect what?
Yes.
Okay.
A $1.50 would take their base salary up to around 71.9. They're currently at 68,800. That's 68,846.
Okay. And then the JP request was $1. So it'd be 2080 plus a $1,000 increase on travel. I think it was 1,000. Is that correct? We were at 45 last year. Judge Priest, is that across the board request for all 4 JPs?
What was that, sir?
Salary increase for the JPs was, we've got $1 request plus a increase in travel to 5,500.
From what I understand, yes.
Okay.
What is the travel requirements of the constable or you for JP?
Mine is the one on inquest. And, I think on weekends when we're magistrating, coming into town.
Every 4th week?
Yes, sir. And inquest is, you know. you never know.
Yes, yeah, guesswork.
I mean, I had 5 in one weekend, and then sometimes I haven't had any at all.
When you have to come in and magistrate on the weekends, it's every 4th week. It's on Saturday and Sunday, 2 days, two trips.
And then holidays.
You know.
No, we do every day. If there's somebody that's been incarcerated.
Yeah,
like, for a day.
I guess my question was, out of your normal routine, you'd have to come in on that weekend, possibly.
Does the on-call JP during the week, do everybody's, or how are y'all handling during business days?
On the magistrating,
Right,
yeah, we magistrate everything.
okay.
But then every 5th week, the municipal judge magistrates, so we just would have inquests. I think that comes out to 3 months a year where we're not magistrating, we just do inquests.
You always do an inquest if it's in your area.
No, just when you're on call.
That's when you're on call.
You cover the whole county.
So even during the week, not just weekends.
Right.
I was on the assumption that y'all handled your individual business during the week, and then weekends was on the
Yeah,
on-call.
no, I think they used to do it that way,
Okay,
and then we went to 4.
Mhm.
When you're on call, you magistrate and you do inquest all week long,
okay.
covering the whole county.
Any other elected requests that y'all are aware of?
I mean, if you're asking, Judge, there's two people that are elected, in my opinion, that have really, Sarah Neal at the county attorney's office has really stepped up and gone above and beyond, and she helps everybody with everything. And then you as well, Judge, I think ought to be looked at, because y'all spend a lot of time doing a lot of things that aren't seen, and I recognize that. That's my 2 cents. I really don't know how to proceed after that. That's my opinion. That's my comments. I mean, just such as the work that was done yesterday, y'all were both up there, and the work y'all done in the behind the scenes to get prepared for that is no telling how many hours. And I think that should be recognized.
Can we talk about new position requests for a minute?
Yeah.
So I did have a meeting yesterday with the county fire marshal. He expressed the demands on his office have continued to increase. And I think we've talked before about probably needing at some point to move that to more of a significant role than it has been in the past.
Judge, do I need to recuse myself?
You can if you want. I mean, I'm just sort of relaying information right now.
Okay.
General office duties.
So they do have him some office space now in the old city hall across the street here, which is, and Mo has got him set up with a computer over there, so he does actually have a sort of physical office now that he can utilize. I did discuss with him also this request from emergency management to have some support, and I was trying to determine what he thought that the fire marshal's office role, from a part-time to full-time, and what the hourly demands would be. He feels that at a minimum, it's probably, he spends half of a day each day working on it now. And there's still some things he can't get to. So, it could possibly be like a 30-hour-a-week commitment for fire marshal. And then I brought up the idea of him providing some support to emergency management for the remainder of that obligation. That's just an idea. We've talked about how to support emergency management. I don't know if a full-time second individual in that office is feasible today, but if we can get some support, that's better than none. And so that's one issue that I discussed with him yesterday. We do have an emergency management. Do we still have that in the budget, that emergency management position
It's
that was
on here.
budgeted? Okay.
It's on the payroll.
So if we were to increase or I guess move it from a contractor position to some sort of employee position for the fire marshal, it might be able to fall into that slot that we already have budgeted for emergency management, just from a budgetary standpoint.
Did the conversation come up about some regulatory abilities and enforcement abilities of the fire marshal?
we talked, and he had a list of what he'd like to give some more support to county engineer's office on development, just on development in general, on inspection of new construction, new facilities, dealing with trying to get addressing correct for these rural addresses to make sure that they're clear on, when they show up to a driveway and there's 2 or 3 numbers, at the entrance to the driveway, that doesn't help them when they're trying to respond. So, issues like that he's continuing to have to work on, that he expressed his need to do more work and continue to coordinate more with the county health department on events and things like that. So I don't have the list. He had a list. He mentioned he could produce that. And I told him we would probably need some sort of information anyways to craft a job description if we want to move this to an actual an employee versus the contractor style that we've been proceeding with in the past. He did mention that Kerr County is working on trying to get a contract fire marshal because they don't currently have one at all. So, I think they're a little behind us as far as, I think that we probably both have the same needs, demands on the position of fire marshal for the county. And so he did mention that he works closely with Reagan. I know that he's officed over there. That's even better. It gives them the ability to work with Reagan, and they assist each other. They do share some resources as far as subscriptions to NFPA and some of these other online resources that they need. So I asked him about vehicle. He has a vehicle he can currently use. He does have radio. Lowe's already got him set up with a computer. So I don't know there's a lot to stand up outside of just the salary if we made the position an actual employee versus a contractor. So I'm just bringing up, I just met with him yesterday about 11 o'clock. And so I just wanted to let the court know about that and where that may be going. I do agree that I think we need, I want that office to have enough time available to contribute to the issues that they need to address and not feel like they're compressed and can't get to everything that they think is important just because of time constraints. And we could probably get input from the county engineer's office on I know I've worked with them on driveway issues and things like that, but I know that they work closely on those types of issues, and we could probably get some information from the other county departments that work with fire marshal's office on if they see some demand or need for increasing the availability of the county fire marshal. I've not, since that meeting, prior to me meeting with the county fire marshal, I did have a discussion with our emergency management coordinator, Ashley, about her request. She is open to, I think she said she was open to anything that would help to grow emergency management support. And so I haven't discussed with her about having some sort of a joint role with the county fire marshal as a support, but I think she's looking for some support and wasn't as rigid about what capacity that would be, and as long as it's something to give her some relief. And my concern with her position is burnout and being the only person that's on call for that. Even just you can see when we have a major disaster, the demands that it puts on that office. And prior to that, we had a lot of smaller incidents that were also taking her time, and people get sick. There's going to be a time where she will not be available, and we're going to need someone to be on standby to fill in that
That's a
role.
new vacation.
Right. Just for morale and mental health, she needs to be able to take breaks. So I'm not really looking, I'm just bringing that information forward. We can discuss that at the next meeting. If y'all have some time to think about it, if you want to do any work on that, I'll get some more information from the fire marshal on current demands for his office and what he has as far as a list of what he foresees, the type of work he does on a day-to-day basis. JP3, you have a request for a new position. Is that a permanent new position, or is that for some overlap with
It's
it?
just, it was a request for a new hire to train, whoever replaces Peggy, just for 2 to 3 months. I had requested, I think, 2 months, and,
I think you requested 3 months.
I'm sorry?
You requested 3
Oh,
months.
did I? Okay.
Transitional role.
And I know it's put a burden on everybody with the new clerk for JP2, having to help her learn. And they're having to stop what they're doing. And Roxanne, fixing forward, really taking a lot of time out of her schedule to help. And Celeste and Peggy are trying to help as well.
What's the planned timeline for that? Do you know when P2's planning to retire? I guess.
End of February or beginning of March, depending on, I think,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
I guess sometime in early 27.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why if I could get somebody, at least by the beginning of the year, she would have 2 months to help get them going. I know they're both, Peggy and Celeste have both been very busy trying to keep up with everything.
And then when Peggy would retire, that was the extra position would go away.
Exactly, yeah.
So we just need to budget we don't need to budget a 4-year salary for that slot.
Should just be 3 or 4 months, 3 months, 3 months. Salary and benefits.
2 to 3 months, yeah. I mean, I don't know when I'm allowed to advertise for a new position, for a new employee. I don't know how long, we set it up to the court's decision, how long I could get somebody in there for.
So the one that is retiring, is there a specific date?
She didn't, it's the end of February or beginning of March.
Okay, approximate date, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
She said it depends on when the end of the pay period is at that point or something.
Yeah.
But I do know Celeste had us caught up with everything, and when she went on maternity leave, she came back after 3 months, we were 6 months behind again. I don't know how that ended up, but
It's like that jail credit, you get 2 for 1. So if we budget that, I mean, you'll have an amount in there that you can utilize. I mean, if you burn through it and you're not, I mean, if the timing doesn't work, you may run out of funds. And so, I mean, that'd be up to your discretion as far as, how long you need that overlap, within the constraints of the budget.
well, that's what I'm thinking from the first of the year till beginning of March.
3 months.
Well, the beginning of March, end of February, beginning of March. So, I said 2 to 3 months, however, or 2.5 months.
Okay.
I don't know, if that's the right way to do that, I don't know, I was just trying to plan ahead to say, hey, I'm gonna need this extra. Trying to budget what I need.
Okay. I think the next new position request is for human resources. Are Are we done with the JP discussion? Anything else on that? I know this was probably submitted before we've had all the changes in HR over the past 4 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 weeks, 1 week. So the request that was submitted at the time was for a part-time assistant. Is that request still something that y'all want to have the court consider?
Yes, sir. A lot of the, in the intermediate period where Lynn was doing everything, a lot of the paperwork backed up, and I think one of the things the part-time assistant can do is help us get caught up with, quite frankly, just filing stuff and getting it out of the way. It shouldn't take too long, but I don't know how long that is. I know that there are stacks of paper in the office that Lynn keeps saying, I've got to go through those and get them filed, and I'd like her to work on other stuff instead of just putting stuff in files that she can take care of. If it's possible, if not, then we'll just figure out how to do it, but.
So is this is this a permanent position, or are you talking about temporary help to relieve?
Right now, I'm just talking about temporary help, and then I'll assess and reevaluate what we need long-term and come back in another year or so. But right now, and I know Cammy may have a different opinion because she and Lennon put it in there, but just my assessment it would be temporary and keep the office caught up.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, the sheriff has several, so let's pass over that for a moment and continue to the next department, which is county engineer has a new position request for floodplain administrator.
I mean, as for me on her, I have not talked to her. I don't know what the position load is in there. Commissioner Juan, I review. I know you're her liaison, or
Yeah, I mean, she took on the engineering role and took on floodplain. And so she took over duties that were being handled by additional resources in the sanitation department. I guess one of the things that we could consider is to say, we'll budget position for half the year. And then you could look at putting somebody on later on if we wanted keep it down a little bit, but we still would be ended up having the resource. So.
She did submit a written justification for the request. I don't know enough about, like, if this is a position that would need to be full-time. Does this person need to be in the office all day, every day for
Did you
people to
leave
come
at
in?
11?
I've got, it's at 11:30.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry for interrupting.
But, you know, if there is a need, that might be another option, would be to have this be a part-time. And if people needed to do business related to floodplain, they could come in at, you know, in 8 to 12 or whatever the window of time would be.
You want me to have her come up here? She's
Sure.
here. So.
Sure. I'll go into a little more discussion on that.
No, not yet.
She's on the way up.
The only other new position requests that I see are from the sheriff's office, unless y'all know of any others that I missed or skipped. Mechanic.
I don't know if that's a continuation of the one that was budgeted last year, but I had a request that was put in for that. So I don't know if he's wanting to make sure that that's a continued open position.
I was gonna think that was part of a possible retiree that didn't retire. So I think that may be a carryover.
I think so, but just,
But it's not for the full year, was it? Or a portion of?
I'm looking into it now.
Did
Yeah.
you say, was that in district court? I mean, district,
Mechanic,
oh, mechanic. Oh.
Michael Meyer.
Yeah, so the intent is for him to add a mechanic, and then when our materials coordinator retire, that Mike would handle that part of the business. So there's not a net gain, it's just that we would add a mechanic, and upon retirement of the materials coordinator, that would be covered by Mike. But I think we already have that position.
Is that the one that's shown as vacant?
Vacant, yes.
Okay.
Because the other position is still actually under the road and bridge.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think we would look at prorating part of his salary over to the road
Yes.
and bridge. when we get that.
Can we talk about that anymore?
No.
I think that's pretty.
I think it's resolved.
Yeah.
I think we discussed it last year.
Judge.
Yes.
Commissioner, when you stated about my department, the significant amount, what would you like for me to present you with? What type of an assessment would you like for me to, as I requested, I already have an assistant position open. And the position, and I had met with Mr. Cerner. What exactly do you want? I mean, we can resolve this so I don't have to come back and,
Yeah, I think the point I made is that we have a request for some open positions that we're adjusting the starting salaries, and that some of those have to have adjustments greater than $1.50. And some of them don't have to be adjusted because they're already in position enough. And so I don't think that you've got to present anything. I think we just need to be aware that we don't accidentally change those when they're put in place, so,
Okay, and
Yeah.
whatever you all need, just let me know.
okay.
That's it.
Melissa, we were talking about your request for the floodplain administrator, new position. And we have your written justification, but I think there was some question from the Commissioners Court on, I guess, just how that role would operate and what that would look like, and what demands on your office, that those issues are presenting that you would want to try to shift to this new position. So I guess this is your opportunity to advocate more for your request.
Yeah, essentially, the,
Melissa, can you,
Yep.
I'm sorry,
sorry.
some of us have challenge hearing.
So essentially, the day-to-day operation of the plan administrator would be to do the determination forms, which is our first step. It's every property that has development on it should be submitting a determination form. And so certain times of the year, we have a lot of volume of those submittals. And currently, the way that we operate is that Ty does the kind of initial screening of those, and then anything that needs a floodplain permit then goes to my office. So just on the forefront, it's kind of confusing for people to work with two different people when we already have several other permits that they're coordinating. And then, again, the volume of it can be substantial. And then anytime that we have a bigger project come up, so with the SB3 planning, there's a lot of review of floodplain boundaries throughout the county. And then with the flooding event that we just had, the damage assessments, the substantial damage, things like that take a lot of time. So the other things that I'm reviewing get pushed back. And for example, like our substantial damage estimates for the homes that were impacted, a lot of those people go through and they're cleaning up the homes, but we're just kind of getting to it, and some people are out of town, so it just is difficult, and it takes a longer time to get that stuff coordinated with those homeowners, which makes them frustrated. And so just being able to have some help on bigger projects would be really beneficial, just to get things turned around to citizens in a shorter amount of time. And then being able to take the more day-to-day stuff off of Ty's plate for the determination forms will open him up to help with more of the road asset inventory and whatnot. Because had we had, that stuff in GIS or something where, this flood event happened and we had that documented of here's all of our, potential problem areas, this is where we can go check, and have notes associated with those. I think that would make those processes in the future run a little bit more smoothly. So that would open his time up to be doing in the field to prepare that type of record for us and help us out with that. More of it as a planning mechanism for the future. So I think overall it'll help simplify the department. It'll give each kind of category of work that we do a specific representative of a specific role. It'll make that very clear to the residents, so that they can have one submittal. They're working with one person, and then as these bigger picture items come up, as we look to possibly update the subdivision ordinance, that gives me more time to work on that and look at that. The flood events seem to be popping up more frequently, things surrounding that. So that'll give us more bandwidth to focus on those things. And then again, with the driveway inspections and getting our road asset information organized and documented, like there's been some interest to do, that'll open tied up to kind of take charge of that. So that's essentially my thought is that it'll
they'll just make us more available to handle some of these big picture projects that either come up voluntarily or involuntarily, address those better in the future.
It's, Cheryl, are you currently doing floodplain, or has that all been moved to engineer's office?
Yeah, and then I think it's part of the justification, I don't know if I put it in there or not, but, you know, since I started, a lot of these things have been updated, they've gotten more complicated. From when, you know, when I started, we just updated to the 2022 subdivision ordinance, which was like 3 times longer than the original one, so that's gotten a lot more complicated. And then floodplain ordinance, we updated a year ago, which put more restrictions on development in the floodplain, so that's, you know, additional review that goes on for those properties, right-of-way ordinance we updated, so, again, we have a little bit more oversight on development in general, so that has increased the workload, and I think it's a good reason for the workload to have increased. I think we needed a lot of those updates, but it has increased workload in the last, you know, at least 4 years.
If we approve adding that, would you pursue it right away, or in terms of trying to fill it, or?
I guess it depends on timing. I would likely maybe advertise at the beginning of next year. I wouldn't want to advertise for it and then be out of office for a few months and kind of weird timing. So, so yeah, seeing, kind of evaluate workload. I talked to Ty, we probably talk about kind of how the collection of information for the road assets, what the commissioners would like to see on that front, and then kind of make a decision from there on if that's something we need now or something that we'll need as we decide to pursue collecting the road data.
On the amount of compensation, is there, I mean, do you have any comparable listings that you could find to get an idea of what the market rate is for this type of position? Is that how you based your, I mean, I don't know if you had that information or if you just estimated based on?
I don't have it in front of me. I had looked at other positions in surrounding counties, or the Texas Water Development Board has some like floodplain administrator type positions. And they're, yeah, usually around anywhere from $55,000 to $80,000 a year. So it's pretty variable depending on the employer. So I think something around the $30 an hour rate, I think that comes out to 60 or 65 a year. So I think that would be appealing to someone, hopefully someone with a certified floodplain management certificate already. But if not, we can certainly get someone trained up to take that test.
Do you have any other questions for the engineer?
No, I do know that, you know, we've looked, in the last 2 years, we're looking at software to do a better job at road inventory management. And that's something that we hadn't pursued. And the engineer's office had said there's a possibility that we could do at least some of that in GIS. And so I think having another person available could help us start to do more of that, to where we're moving down the road, even if we eventually go to a standalone software package that helps manage that. So.
And I have talked to Ty about, you know, if we were to move in that direction, that, you know, the expectation on him, since he's getting relieved of part of his duty to be basically to become a GIS expert, so to speak, and get a little more familiar with that, so that he could be kind of a hub for that information, keep that, be the basically that, you know, if the road guys go out and do
chip seal on a road, they can just text in or email in, hey, we chip sealed this road from this intersection to this intersection, and then you can be that light central hub that goes and puts that information in. That way, it's not a extra burden on the road hands or the commissioners, and it's something that we can kind of track for you in case you need that information in the future. So he's aware that that would be an expectation if we were to hire a new person.
I'd also like to see that the information be put in consistently instead of 4 or 8 different people doing it different to some extent. And then you go, well, what did they mean? Here, one person does it, you've got one set of guidelines that they're using to make some consistency across also, I think, so.
Well, even before the event we just had, I mean, floodplain's been an issue, particularly in just south of the city limits there. So, I mean, I think there's going to continue to be more pressure and demand related to floodplain oversight, I guess, if you will. And then, the flooding event we just had just shows the importance of that. I mean, if it's not administered properly, people are going to be in dangerous situations when flooding occurs. So, I mean, it's obviously an important issue for us to address. Trying to figure out the best way to do that from a budgetary standpoint, and make sure you have the resources in your office that you need to address that properly.
There are, some cities or counties will have a consultant do floodplain administration, but I don't know that that'd be a good fit for our county just because we do get a lot of people that like to stop by the office. They come in person, and I don't know that having a consultant telling them to go somewhere else for that information, I don't think that that's a great solution for us. Just since we do have so many walk-ins, people want to come in and see someone.
I agree. I mean, I think it's such a nuanced and localized issue too. I mean, just talking to landowners around an area, I mean, it's more than just looking at it remotely and dealing with mapping. So for our county, our size, I think people would appreciate having someone,
A body to talk to.
in-house to work on those as opposed to a contractor. All right. Any other questions or requests concerning this position?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, mixed up for a minute. So I know, Judge, you got something coming up, but I think we also need to talk about the IT positions.
Okay.
In
Right.
terms of what the pay is. I can put something together after this. Jordan didn't have anything in there, but we've really got to reconsider how we're paying that group because we haven't been able to fill positions. So.
I do have the salary information from Kendall County that will give us, sort of at least an idea of market for an adjoining county. But I agree. I think that's been, based on the difficulty in filling the vacant positions. I think that whole department's probably below market pretty significantly. So I do have some information that Jordan provided a few months ago in my office. I can probably put my hands on and
Okay.
send out. So I don't think there were any new positions in that. It was just possible significant salary adjustments for them.
Yeah, there's basically 2 empty slots.
Right.
Right now there is.
Yes.
I knew there's the head.
And Lowe is fixing to have to.
Yeah. Basically, there's a senior technician and 2 technicians, and then the director. And we have a senior technician and a technician, basically.
Are you planning on coming back after lunch, Judge, or?
I don't know if we need to come back after lunch or we can finish before lunch. I've got a hearing I've got to do. It should take 10 minutes.
Okay.
And y'all can continue the meeting without me, or we can take a break either way. But,
I would say we take a break till you're back.
Yeah. That's my preference.
Okay. Anything else before we take a break? I'll give you about a 15-minute break. Okay, if not, it is 11:25 a.m. We will recess for approximately 15 minutes. Try to reconvene around 11:40 a.m.
There's that one.
I don't know. There's one over here. Oh, this is the judge's. If it's yours, yeah, if you want to copy it.
Control will always make time sure budget expenses go down.
It's 11:55 a.m., July the 30th. We're going to reconvene the special meeting in Gillespie County Commissioners Court. We are still discussing budget workshop item on the agenda. I've received a request from the county tax assessor collector to maybe make some comments concerning her budget. If you want to do that now,
Can I do it from here, or is that okay?
you have to go up to the microphone. It's part of the deal.
You gotta follow rules.
You want to speak, you gotta walk up, yeah, sorry.
Okay, so I'll give up for a minute. Okay, mine is 493. So in the original proposed, I put in under 5609, 100,000 to do the restoration, start recording and saving all our documents digital. So I have not gotten further information back on everything we have. I'm still trying to see if some of the records that we received, if there's any way the appraisal district could be in charge of saving them and preserving them, since they are now the tax collection records. So I haven't gotten clarifications, so trying to find some of the documentations from the contract when that all went in place back in 2017, I think it was 18. So I'm still trying to find some of those documents to clarify if they took over everything or just certain portions of it. So I will need to take that amount out for now, because I don't have a specific number for that one. But going through the records, I did find out we still had a lot of Marissa's records that were held because they didn't want anything destroyed because of the suits and everything. And it does look like the lawsuits, everything is cleared up, that it's been cleared and released, I'm guessing, but I'm gonna clarify with the judge before that. But I want to shred the probably about 50 boxes of paperwork. I think that can be destroyed, just of her stuff. So roughly, they were kind of estimating that might be up to $3,000 just because of the large Xerox boxes that we were having to shred. So I just wanted to see if I could add 3,000 back into 4309.
3,000, you said?
Yeah, 3,000 covered at least the start to the shreds, because we want to go through some of those boxes and make sure what's in them is.
So you currently have 6,200 in there.
Yes, so I wanted to put it up to 9,200,
And then that 100,000 goes away for now?
and the 100,000 goes away. Is that a good deal?
That's a
Sounds
good
like a
trade.
bargain.
I just say, for now, but unless something comes up where I can't do those records and somehow can't
I
send
did.
them over there, that we might still have to do that, but that would be down the road, yes.
Okay.
I'm
I
just trying to
did.
clean up some of that mess that's still out for me to even say as well.
On the, so the records that were retained for the, that were retained basically for the litigation purposes, I remember some emails with Steve Wadsworth when he was county attorney about that question, so we may already have resolved that, but, and assuming those were only retained for litigation purposes, once that's extinguished, then they're eligible for destruction otherwise. I did look at the current contract we have with the collect with the appraisal district, it didn't make any reference at all to record. So I don't know if the earlier ones did, but I have not been able to find anything related to that. Doesn't mean they won't take them or don't have a need for them. It just, I don't think it was addressed specifically, at least in our current agreement with the appraisal district.
Right, yes, I know how it was originally, and all that went down, if there's anything.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So while you're looking, some, I have two questions.
Okay.
JP travel expenses, do we believe that at 45? Or we're getting the increase?
I don't know that we've made a decision on that.
Okay.
You have a proposal or?
Yeah, my proposal, leave it.
Concur.
There's a big one's up 1,000.
JP's, their travel, they went up 1,000 to 55. The proposal is Commissioner Cromer's 45, leaving it at 45.
The other question I had is, we discussed constables, do we, there was two of them that had a significant pay increase request. Are we denying that just in the $1.50?
I think if I remember right, the constable pay was not out of line relative to the salary survey.
Without their request increase?
Yes, that's what I mean, yeah.
So just,
I don't think it was out of line, but I have to look back at it, so.
I was just getting clarity if we made a decision on that.
We did get an email from Scott Fair with the certified totals. I think I forwarded that to everyone on the court. His email indicated he's working on the truth and taxation paperwork now, which would have our available rates based on those numbers. So we've got basically 2 weeks until we will need to solidify a proposed rate and proposed, well, the entire proposed budget, but that includes we need to have a proposed rate, and we will need to solidify our electeds' proposed salaries so we can post those as required. So that's a long way of saying we're going to have some additional meetings. So let's look at calendars if we can and try to come up with some dates for anticipated future meetings.
Earliest would be Wednesday. Would be correct.
That's correct.
I'm available next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then the following week, we have court Tuesday, and I'm available other than that. So you say it has to be ready to go by the 15th. That is a Saturday. So does that mean it goes to the 14th?
I was gonna check the statute on that. I mean, if it's not specified, then generally if a deadline falls on a weekend or holiday, it carries to the next
17th.
business day.
Okay.
I'm Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm good as well, and Tuesday.
Tuesday's too short.
Just let me know.
You mean for lunch?
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 is good with me.
Monday, 10th, whatever.
What about the following week? We have Commissioners Court that Tuesday morning.
Any day that week is.
Monday I'm available in the morning, Tuesday afternoon, good. Wednesday all day, Thursday I'm available. Friday available. I'm here for the court.
I'm here to serve you.
Sounds like any day from next week, Wednesday on is doable.
How long after we get that does it take to compile all the information once we're kind of somewhat comfortable with the budget?
As far as what, like putting it into the proposed budget?
Yes.
Well, the payroll part is will take a while to get that all entered correctly. I mean, I think a lot of our operational stuff, we made minor changes here and there, so I'll work on getting that all corrected and adjusted today and tomorrow. But we need some time to get whatever decisions are made put into the system so that we can produce the proposed budget. So the sooner the better, really.
For all concerned, yeah. I mean, so that's, I guess why I was asking that is, like, do you want to do one Wednesday, Thursday, and Wednesday and Friday, or Wednesday and Thursday, and then another one early in the week following, or? I mean, just if we post them, it's not that big a deal. We
Right.
Cancel.
can cancel easier. And Brian Phillips is back there. He can speak to some of the sheriff's department if we have questions there, but he may not want to. I hear a train coming.
He was exiting.
And let me check on the deadline. I mean, we don't need to push it to the very last day, but just in case, if something comes up, it'd be good to know if we have that extra day till the 17th or if we have to have it on the 14th.
Do you see that? Is that correct? Do you know for sure?
Is what? Oh,
I have it in my calendar. Do you know how court is looking on the 11th? Is there a lot of, too early to tell?
Yeah, I don't even think I have the portal up yet for people to submit stuff. So we don't have an account on early numbers. I have a conference on the 12th and the 13th. So I will not be available to meet on either of those days. Do you want me to post meetings? You want to post meetings for either of those days?
Mm-mm.
If you want to hold a meeting without me? Okay. Just give me the option.
5, 6, and 10. 5, 7, and 10.
Yeah. We may put something on the 11th at the end of the meeting, just as a discussion if we need to have a workshop item, and then
That can always be an agenda item and then no action.
and I'll be able to do work on the budget on the 12th and 13th. I just won't be able to attend a meeting. And I've got to go because my deadline for the end of the month is the deadline for my judicial hours. So I can't miss that conference. Okay, what else do you want to talk about before we break for today?
I think we need to talk about the IT salaries.
Okay.
Were you able to?
I didn't grab that. Let me go look for it real quick.
Okay.
So maybe it's in my IT binder, budget binder, maybe.
So what days do we? 55,
5, 6, 7, 10, 11,
5, 6, 7,
10, 11.
and we don't have the times yet.
Correct.
Yeah, I think we'll do them at 9 unless I think one of those days I have a meeting at 9 to 10, so we might have to have it at 10 on that day.
And then on the 11, it might be an add-on to the end of court. What the heck is that on this page? There we go. How y'all doing down there?
All right. It's so slack. Sounds good.
There you go.
That's good.
Oh, watch it.
We need to look at adding phones to us.
Yes, sir. I'm using my phone right now. I know if you did away with all the stipends and just told me you're gonna use a plan. lawsuit wouldn't want that. So we probably save money. But I'm for,
Always been my take. I don't want to carry two, but that was a question I got when I was at the movie class, or that they highly suggested.
it's recommended.
You'd have somebody ask them, they find out that it's not a county fund.
Charles will look at the default on his
Put one on each side. Ching, ching.
Which one's loaded?
You have any thoughts on that, Joel?
I would have to refer to probably some legal advice on that.
Yeah, I think I have a meeting on one of these days, not a hearing, but a meeting. I think it's that same day that I have the hearing.
Yeah.
This is what was provided by Jordan.
Well, even before I saw that, Judge, I was thinking 110, 70, 55, and 50 on the sort of positions, and that falls sort of in line with where they're at. But,
Yes, I think he provided a range. I mean, he did provide a range. He didn't give a specific, number request. That was more of like a sort of a vision of where he thinks the compensation would need to go to be, competitive in the market.
Right. And so the numbers I was thinking about is that's where we would budget for, but we could offer accordingly based on experience and so forth. But
Okay, let's.
so those numbers equate to $24 an hour for the IT, for the tech, $26.44 for tech, and then $33.65 for senior tech.
I want this note here for you. He's pretty sharp.
I think I heard that end of the year,
Another year?
the end of this year,
Okay, end of
calendar
this
year.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Whitehammer, what were those numbers again?
Numbers I wrote down was 110,000 for the IT administrator. The IT senior tech, 70,000. And then I had two different tech roles that we currently have budgeted in the system. The first one at 55,000, which is $26.44 an hour, and the second one at 50, which is $24 an hour.
What was the second one?
50,000. Oh, 110, 70, 55, and 50. You divide by 28 to get out of it, right?
Got it.
I mean, that was just a suggestion, so.
I mean, in the grand scheme, that's not a terrible.
Yeah, so we currently are at 92.3, 60,000, 49.3, and 42.6. That's what's currently budgeted in those roles.
Have we had any applicants for?
Yeah, he's sitting over there in HR,
Yeah.
ignoring us.
Well, even for our techs, I mean, these are not very attractive amounts. So.
We have had a few, but not like.
Not the caliber we would like to have, maybe.
So I've got Kendall County's numbers for that department from, this is actually their 25-26 numbers. So it's from the current fiscal year, and they've got their IT director at 132. They have an assistant IT director position at 116. Network engineer at 88. A systems administrator at 80, and an IT specialist at 88. I'm not saying that's a direct comparison, but it just shows the, the sort of market, I guess, for that type of department and those types of employees with that skill set. So are y'all okay with the numbers that were proposed as, I guess, initial starting points for discussion by Commissioner Weinheimer, putting those into that department?
Yes.
Okay. All right, anything else you want to discuss today? I will work on getting the calendar out for those dates for upcoming meetings. I'm also going to prepare basically the whole entire budget calendar that will show the deadlines for when we need to post and what we need to post and have our meetings and all of that. So we have a long-term plan for the remainder of the process.
That would really be beneficial. Thank you, sir. Because I know that's complicated to come up with.
Well, the hardest part is trying to get everything in the newspaper, and we only have once a week, and it's hard to make it fall with all the statutory cutoffs for some things have to be between 10 and 30 days and things like that. So.
David update kind of.
Unfortunately not, no. And sometimes in the past, newspaper does, everybody, they're human, and sometimes they accidentally not posted things that we need published. And so we need a little bit of, buffer in case that happens. All right.
I move we adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We will adjourn at 12:24 PM.
Now, I guess we didn't have any consent in this.
We did not.
It's a little late to ask now, but